The Lone Ranger and the Green Hornet. Two very fun and unique heroes from two very distinct periods of time. The Lone Ranger is a hero from the Old West, while the Green Hornet, more often than not, exists in modern day times. So who knew these two characters were related in more ways than one? Until recently, I certainly didn't. So if you give me a couple of minutes, I'll share a little bit about both of these great fictional characters and then talk about their connection. So let's move backwards chronologically. Because of the two, the Green Hornet is probably my favorite. There are lots of reasons why I loved the Green Hornet growing up. Despite its relatively short run on television, the TV show with Bruce Lee as Kato and Van Williams as the Hornet was really well executed and so much fun to watch. I loved the theme music, the Black Beauty, and all of the Green Hornet's other amazing gadgets like the Hornet Sting, which would unlock any door and render other devices useless. Of course, it didn't hurt that the Green Hornet came from the same folks that brought us this show. Yep, Batman, starring Adam West and Burt Ward, will forever be one of my all-time favorite TV shows. That said, I'm glad that William Dozier and team decided not to treat the Green Hornet in the same campy way that they did Batman. I was such a fan of the show that my dad brought me this book home from a business trip, and I'm pretty sure he read it to me multiple times as I would try to fall asleep over the course of the next few years. Quick sidebar to give a shout out to the recent reunion of the 60s versions of the Green Hornet and Batman in comic book form. Written by Kevin Smith, yep, that Kevin Smith, and Ralph Garman, it's a pitch-perfect callback to both of these great TV shows. Alright, enough Green Hornet talk, at least for a minute. Let's travel back in time and talk about the Lone Ranger. Again, my exposure to this character was on television via reruns on Saturday afternoons. The version that seemed to air most often starred Clayton Moore as Lone Ranger and Jay Silverheels as Tonto. So what's the connection? How are they related? Well, you see, both characters are the creations of these two chaps, George Trendle and Franz Streicher. Created for radio, for years it was believed that Trendle had been the sole creator. This was because Stryker was under Trendle's employ and he had been pressured to sign away the rights to both characters. When it came to the creation of the Lone Ranger, Trendle was definitely that guy who envisioned a heroic cowboy in the Old West. However, it was Stryker who came up with many of the ideas that really defined the character because he wrote most of the early radio scripts. The same holds true for the Green Hornet. In fact, the situation is not unlike what happened with comic book writer Bill Finger, who helped co-create Batman. For decades, Bob Kane got sole credit for creating the character. And much like Trendle, he did come up with the main idea of a Batman. But it was Bill Finger who wrote many of those early stories and really helped refine the character and create his very unique world. And the same holds true for Franz Streicher. So I think it's fair to say that both the Lone Ranger and the Green Hornet are related in a very real way because of their real-life creators, their parents, George Trendle and Franz Streicher. That said, if that were the only way that they were related, we would also need to talk about good old Sergeant Preston of the Yukon, who Trendle and Stryker created as well. But guess what? We're not going to, because there is another way, a more interesting way that the Ranger and Hornet are related. In fact, all it takes is one to key in on the last name of both characters. You see, the Lone Ranger's name is John Reid, and the Green Hornet, his name is Britt Reid. Riding in that Texas Ranger posse that is villainously attacked by the notorious Butch Cavendish and his gang is John's brother, Captain Dan Reid, who will not survive the attack. Dan is Britt Reid's grandfather, making Britt the Lone Ranger's grandnephew. I guess it's fair to say that heroism just runs in the family. And as long as we're talking about these characters, I'm curious what you thought about the recent big screen remakes. I didn't mind either of them, although I think The Lone Ranger was a better film if I had to rank one over another. However, neither of them really captured the magic of the earlier versions of the characters. Still, I don't mind that Hollywood gave it a try, and I hope that at some future point, they try again. Alright, no way am I going to do a video about the Green Hornet and not include a picture of the Black Beauty. It was such a cool vehicle. Okay, please share your memories in the comment section of this video, and if you enjoyed my little trip down memory lane, please give it a thumbs up. That's how I'll know if I should make more videos like this one. Also, I would be honored if you would consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. We talk about music, movies, and television, mostly from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.